without my glasses. Scooby, have you seen them anywheres? Oh, there they are. I can't see anything without my glasses. Much better. What do you think, Scoob? Jinkies, everyone! I am Sammy, your devoted manga otaku, and welcome to my spooky space. Today, I have a special announcement. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, I am taking part in the Spooky Smart Bitch Read-a-Thon created by my talented and gorgeous best friend, Jordaline Reads. Jordaline is a horror booktuber and she reads, unboxes, and hauls manga as well. Honestly, her content is so much fun. She's hilarious and charming and intelligent. Also, her unboxings are very chill and ASMR. You should definitely check her out. Also, in honor of this special event, I wanted to embody the essence of a true spooky smart bitch. And who's the spookiest, smartest bitch I know? Velma Dinkley. And also Jordaline, but her look is too iconic. I could never. Actually, this look with the wig, it's kind of like an homage to Jordaline since she's always sporting the most dazzling wigs in her videos. I'm thinking of you, boo. The Spooky Smart Bitch Read-a-Thon starts August 1st and ends August 31st. There are 7 prompts total. Some prompts were harder to apply to manga than others, but I just did the best I could. Ultimately, this read-a-thon is supposed to challenge your reading and celebrate diversity, and I feel like I've done that with my TBR. I really wanted to share the books I picked for the read-a-thon, so I invite you to grab a coffee or other beverage of your choice, and let's talk about spooky manga. The first prompt is read a horror manga. I decided to go with a classic horror manga for this prompt, and it was actually a gift from Jordaline. She was kind enough to gift me the 3-in-1 deluxe edition of Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I've seen this Viz Media publication being described as a masterpiece in the horror genre, which isn't surprising since Ito Sensei is acknowledged as one of the best contemporary artists working in the horror genre. I don't know anything about the storyline or the plot, but I do know the main premise, which is that the horror revolves around spirals. There are a bunch of content warnings for this manga, including body horror, gore, death, and even cannibalism. It's rated for older teens, and with imagery like this, I can see why. Terrifying stuff, I'm not gonna lie. I've never read manga from Junji Ito, but I've seen a lot of manga tubers talk highly of his work, and I can't wait to learn why he's called the master of horror. The second prompt is read a translated horror novel. This was an extremely easy prompt to apply to manga because almost all manga is from Japan. This isn't always the case. Fangirl, I'm looking at you. But most manga are translated from Japanese into other languages. For this prompt, I'm choosing to read volumes 1 through 3 of the seinen horror Mieruko-chan by Tomoki Izumi. Published by Yen Press, Mieruko-chan follows an ordinary high school girl named Miko Yatsuya. And one day, she randomly starts seeing grotesque, petrifying spirits that no one else seems to acknowledge. And just to give you a little insight into what Miko deals with on a daily basis, yeah. These illustrations are horrifying. I mean, just nightmare fuel. Afraid and with no one to turn to, Miko tries ignoring these beings, hoping that they'll just go away. But how long can she keep up this charade before the monsters realize that she can see them? I've been wanting to read this series ever since I read a couple pages on Imgur. How long was that flipped? I love the concept of blending horror and comedy together, and I was fascinated with how I could laugh at one page and be terrified and creeped out on another page. I predict this will be a really fun read. The third prompt is read a horror novel you've never seen anyone talk about on social media. The book I picked for this prompt snuck into my TBR last minute. I ended up ordering it specially for this readathon. Heads up, it's not a manga, it's actually a graphic novel, and that's Johnny the Homicidal Maniac by Jonan Vasquez. I ordered the director's cut, which includes all 7 issues. For those that don't know, this graphic novel is tremendously gory and violent. Let's see if I can show you guys a little bit of what the art looks like. It's very, very sadistic and gory. Good stuff. The only reason I know of this graphic novel's existence is because it's a graphic novel from my childhood. I think I'm gonna go on a small tangent here and tell y'all a little story about this book. We're gonna go back all the way to 7th grade. I'm 12 or 13? I don't know. And there was this girl in my class. I'm going to use a name that rhymes with her real name, because I don't want to use her real name. Vicky. Her name is Vicky. So Vicky walks into the class one day acting like she's hot shit, and she whips out one of the volumes of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and everyone in the class just basks in its glow, you know? To a bunch of 7th graders, this R-rated, dark, twisted comedy was everything. She let us borrow the issue, but we were only allowed to read it at school. And I remember reading it on my lunch break and just falling in love with the story and the characters. It was so funny and gave off the same vibes as watching late night adult cartoons on YTV and Teletoon. It was so different from anything I've ever read, and I wanted to buy it. So I go up to Vicky and I ask her, where can I buy this? Where did you buy this? I want to buy a copy. And she said,
you can't buy this comic. It's super rare and is translated into English from German.
And I'm like, whoa, German? That's insane. I mean, it's a bummer that I can't buy it, but that is so cool. Fast forward to last week, where I had an epiphany. I was going to read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac for the Read-a Translated book prompt for the Readathon. And I thought how awesome it would be to read this and actually finish the whole story, since I've only read maybe 2 or 3 issues of this, and there's 7 in the series, and I'm pretty sure I read them out of order. So yeah, I wanted to buy and read this. So I looked up the book on Indigo and find this omnibus edition, which was really exciting. I ordered it that night, but I didn't see anything disclosing that it was translated from German. So I looked up the author on Wikipedia, and oh my god, Vicky lied to us all. Jonan Vasquez, the author, was born in California. He's American, and his books, not that hard to find. Vicky lied to us so that she could parade this really cool book in front of our faces. I remember her getting a huge popularity boost for lending this out to people, and people asked her all the time where she got them, and her answer was always the same.
They're rare books from Germany. And you can't get the thing.
Vicky is a genius. She was rude, but I really applaud her commitment to the tomfoolery. Also, the name Jonan Vasquez doesn't even sound German. I was a gullible child. As for what this is actually about, I don't remember much. But I do remember that Johnny slaughters people and drains their blood because there's a wall in his house that constantly needs to be painted with fresh blood to prevent a monster from escaping. I'm very keen to read this and find out what shenanigans Johnny gets into. The fourth prompt is read a horror novel written by a Black, Indigenous, or person of color author. Another easy prompt to apply to manga, since most mangaka are Japanese. For this prompt, I've chosen to read volumes 1 through 6 of the seinen series Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. Yes. This psychological thriller is rated 16+ and is published by Kodansha Comics. I don't know anything about this series. I haven't even read a synopsis for it. All I know is that this is about a mother and her son. I find the best way to experience the horror genre in any medium is to go in knowing absolutely nothing about it. I can't wait to jump into this series. Everyone talks highly of it, especially Jordaline. I believe this is one of her favorite manga series. I have yet to hear bad things about it. I've also heard it's super duper bingeable, and I love that. The fifth prompt is read a horror novel based on a true story or a true crime book. Okay, so the manga I picked for this prompt definitely isn't based on a true story. It is very much fiction, and that's the josei horror Helter, Skelter, Fashion Unfriendly by Kyoko Okazaki. This psychological horror is published by Kodansha and is rated 18+. My logic behind choosing this manga for this prompt is that this story is a psychological horror about cosmetic surgery. It doesn't have supernatural or sci-fi elements, making it more realistic. Like, maybe it could happen in real life? Maybe? Okay, I know I'm reaching with this one, but there isn't a whole lot of true crime manga out there. I've seen the cover of Helter Skelter on Amazon and Right Stuff. I know it revolves around plastic surgery, and I know it's won a couple of awards, but other than that, I don't know what this is about. You guys know I love one-shots, and the fact that this manga has won multiple awards makes me think this will be an excellent read and definitely worthy of my time. The sixth prompt is read a horror novel written by a woman. I have the perfect manga for this prompt, and that is the entire omnibus collection of the shonen series Mermaid Saga by Rumiko Takahashi. This Viz Media publication is rated 17+ and is a supernatural horror about mermaids. Horror, mermaids, yes please. I looked up the content warnings for this, and apparently there's graphic violence, body horror, and cannibalism. Jinkies. I don't know anything about this, surprise, surprise, but I thought it'd be fun if we read the synopsis together.
They say that if one consumes mermaid flesh, one can attain immortality. Unfortunately, the more likely results include becoming horribly deformed or turning into a vicious monster. Even if one were to gain eternal life, however, is such an anomaly a blessing or a terrible curse? Yuta became immortal when he unwittingly ate mermaid flesh, and now he seeks a way to become human again. Hundreds of years later, he encounters a volatile and determined young lady named Mana while searching for a mermaid. Could this mysterious woman hold the key to saving Yuta's humanity?
Well, that sounds amazing. Eating mermaid flesh. Like the fish part or the human part? I bought this series after watching Maeve Ever Reading haul it on her channel. I was drawn to the art. It's very whimsical, but with dark undertones. I've never read manga from Takahashi sensei, and I'm very eager to change that. The seventh and final prompt is read a horror manga book by an LGBTQIA2S+ author. I could not find any horror or thriller manga written by mangaka who identify openly as LGBTQIA2S+, but there is one mangaka that I know of that is part of that community, and that's Nagata Kabi. I read my lesbian experience with loneliness a couple months ago, and I gave it 5 stars. It was very raw, honest, and relatable. I still want to promote and support someone from the LGBTQIA2S+ community. So even though it's not a horror, for this prompt, I'll be reading volumes 1 and 2 of My Solo Exchange Diary, which is the sequel to my lesbian experience with loneliness. For those that don't know, this is an autobiographical manga series about Kabi sensei, and this sequel is about her struggling with the idea of living alone and adjusting to the effects of her previous book success. I've been looking forward to reading this ever since I read volume 1, and I've seen a lot of people say that the sequel is actually better than the first one. I'm happy I was able to find copies, and now I can continue Kabi sensei's journey. And that's my entire TBR for the Readathon. If you've read any of these spooky books, let me know. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Which one did you like most, Scooby? Oh, you're such a scaredy cat. He doesn't like horror very much. If you're interested in watching more videos from me, you can check out my end card where I'll have links to my most recent videos. I hope you all have a manga-nificent day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!